What's up, everybody? It's Kyle with another episode of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. This is episode 266, just back off vacation. So I was having some thoughts on vacation I wanted to share with you. Before I get to that, you can go to my personal website now, kylenewell.com. Get on the email list. Go to kylenewell.com/fasting. Get the free fasting book, and you'll get on my email list. Cool stuff that I share with those people. All right, so today I want to talk about the inside-out approach. Now, this applies to pretty much everything in life, the inside-out approach. Let's talk with the most obvious aspect of this first, which is the physical, right? You have the mind, body, and spirit. But the body is the easiest one for people to comprehend because it's five senses, right? It's physical reality. It's three-dimensional. Where some of the other stuff, you almost have to graduate, right? And it's kind of going along the path of warrior. You go from warrior to teacher to healer. Some people do that. Some people just stay as the warrior, which is okay. But with fitness, right, and look at diet, the stuff I teach with Panda, it's not about counting calories. It's not about how much you burn, this and that. That's the outside-in approach. If you're just using the scale as your barometer, it's not going to work, right? That's the outside-in approach. Because let's say you drop 10 pounds, but your energy's in the tank, your sleep is suffering, your mood stinks, performance is dropping, then that's not going to work, right? So when you look at fitness and you look at what's called biofeedback, stuff like bathroom habits, digestion, sleep, energy, some of the stuff I just mentioned, if that's trending in the right direction, then keep doing what you're doing. You don't have to add more, right? It's a minimum effective dose. Many people with fitness take the outside-in approach where they're really concerned with how they look, let's say. Now, when we examine that, we get into looking at where's that coming from, right? And then you go into the inside. Maybe it's a lack of confidence and whatnot. And the human brain, you know, from mind mapping, we know that it's very, very sensitive to judgment. So a lot of people think if they look better, they're going to be happy. No. That's not the way it works. You got to work on the inside, your beliefs, your inner dialogue. You have to learn to be happy, right? Like, happy is not an external thing that you're going to get by attaining something. Happiness is about growth. You're not going to be happy all the time. But when you start going down this path, you realize that growth is really the key. So you might start out on this physical journey, then all of a sudden, you start tapping into the mind, right? And I go back, what am I now? I'll be 40 in a couple months. 24 years ago when I started training, it was for the physical. And then over time, it started to become the mental. It took me about to 2000. I was always into the mind. I was studying that stuff. Even as a high schooler, I was studying psychology of athletes and visualization. But it wasn't until I got really put in a bad, it's not a bad, at the time it was a bad situation, where I really started studying the mind. That was 2007, when I really started becoming a voracious reader and really going down the path of mindset, brain set, stuff like that. So you can start with the outside in, but just realize to progress and take ownership of something, it has to become the inside out approach. Now, how else does this work? Well, let's look at wealth creation, look at money. Most people set out with the goal of, I want to do this because I'm going to get rich. And as soon as people tell me that, I always kind of just, this isn't going to work. It's not going to work because that's not going to keep you going for the long haul. Now, when you have the inside out approach and you really have it and you grasp it, based in the mind and the spirit, the outer manifestation, the other stuff will enter your life. It does. It happens every time. But it's a side effect. When you're trying to just go for the outside in approach, and it's good to have certain things you want to have, right? Like, for example, go going for my rider's education course for getting a motorcycle. And that's early August. Now, I need to get a motorcycle for that, right? Got my eyes on a few things. But it's not about getting a motorcycle. Like, it's not that I want this beautiful bike. It's, to me, as I explained to Devin, this is something I feel is good for my spirit. Being able to just go out by myself and ride. Let's go down some country roads once a week. Just go ride. Nothing crazy. Right? So I know the purpose of why I'm doing it. I know how I am as a person. Very introverted. I need a lot of downtime as far as being by myself to recharge and to think. So this is another step towards that. Right? And start realizing with the inside-out approach, it's about who you are being as a person. What are your beliefs? Okay, and where are you weak with your beliefs? It's all driven by your inner dialogue. So again, wealth creation. A lot of people never attain, if we're talking about monetary wealth, because look at this guy busting my chops on my beard. Anyhow, but when you take the approach to money, a lot of times it's lack of belief up here. You've had stuff implanted in you as far as beliefs where you're never going to attain, right? Because beliefs, the process of creation, and look at the inside-out approach, is thoughts, words, action. Thoughts, words, action. Thoughts, word, action. And it just continues, right? But the thoughts are up here. That's environment number one. There's 6 different environments that we teach for mind mapping, but number 1 environment's up here, so you got to get control of that. The strength of beliefs, right? Strength of beliefs. And when you get your mind right and you get your spiritual life on the right path, you're the wealthiest person in the world. And when we were on vacation, we were about to go into some caverns, and we were in the shop, and we were waiting for our tour to begin. Some older ladies, I'd say they were 65, 70. They're watching me and Devin with the kids going down the steps, and she goes, "You are wealthy." And she wasn't talking about the monetary, right? She was talking about, you got this family. You got this family right here, right? And it's a beautiful thing. And the reason I'm telling you that is when you go from the inside-out approach, you start realizing that you have everything you need. You start realizing that the other stuff's cool. It's about a growth process. But you have everything you need. And when you start from that point of view, right, with the happiness first and realizing that, be grateful for what you got. Another inside-out thing. If you're not grateful for what you got, you ain't going to get any more, right? Most people think, oh, if I get more and more and more, accumulate more, then I'm going to be happy. Be grateful for what you got. You already got everything you need. Now everything else is just icing on the cake. But if you're taking the outside-in approach, you're always going to feel like you're lacking. You're always going to feel like there's not enough. Like you need to do more. You need to get more, and such on and so forth. That is not reality, right? You might be taught, and there's a lot of stuff about. Maybe I'll do a whole separate episode on that, because it again applies to mind, body, and spirit. There's a lot of stuff that we've been led to believe that is not the way reality works. It's not reality, but people are kept up in this rat race, right? Keeps people chasing, keeps people burnt out, keeps people tired. It keeps people kind of under the thumb, right? And it's easier to control people. So, it's like a rat with cheese. Hey, I'll give you the cheese at the end of the maze. You know, you'll get the cheese. But you got to start believing it. And the last thing I'll finish with this episode, so keep it about 10 minutes. Do you know who the most confident person in any room is? So picture you walk into a room of 100, 200 people, or even 40, 50 people. Maybe you got a 4th of July party you're going to this weekend. And let me rephrase that. Not the thanks, Latif. Not the most confident. I should say the most attractive person in any room. Do you know who that is? It is the person with the most certainty. The most certainty. What is the most certainty? Most certainty is your beliefs, right, and who you are. And I'm not talking about beliefs as far as, well, let me say this too before because I want to make sure that you're clear on this. You have the right to change your beliefs. You have the right to change your approach in life. And you should, I always tell people, I reserve the right to change my mind because I'm constantly learning. As you learn, you gotta take the proverbial cup, empty it out, right? So you can put more in it or be exposed to it. You might say, you know what? No, I still believe what I believe. And I look at my career of fitness, there's been so many things I believed at the beginning that were true and they're not true, right? But the most attractive person in any room is the person with the most certainty. So when you have certainty, right, and that's up here, when you're confident in who you are and what you stand for, you're going to be the most attractive person in the room. It's got nothing to do with looks. It's got nothing to do with your looks, right? The most certainty. And I'll leave you with that as far as take the time to really develop what your philosophy of life is. What are your morals? What is your principles that you live by? Because most people don't ever take the time to write that stuff down or actually just think about it. They don't take the time to go out in solitude, right? That's the inside out approach. That's why I want to get a motorcycle. I want to ride. I know thoughts will come to me when I'm riding. You know, when I was on vacation too, something I got away from is I used to do this right around when I met Devin, even before Devin. I'll go out at least once a week and call it, it wasn't meditation, it wasn't journaling, it wasn't this and this. I would go sit at a park. I would pick a local park, and I'd go at night a lot of times. I'd be the only one in the park. And I would just sit there and look at the stars, or sometimes I would just stand next to the trees for like an hour until I just felt completely, and then I would leave. So on vacation, like I was reading something in one of my books, and I said, I got to get back to that, right? I got to get back to that once a week where I just go out in nature for an hour by myself and just sit there. But that's the inside-out approach. Get this right, get your spirit right, other stuff follows. Look at the way most people live with most things in their life and do the exact opposite of what they're doing. Then you'll be on the right path. There's a lot of truth in that. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for tuning in. You can subscribe on iTunes as well. Don't forget to go to kylenewell.com. It's up and running now. You get on the email list over there. I keep it entertaining with the emails. I'm actually starting them for next week. They'll be getting a daily email without holding back. Not PC, none of that stuff. You're welcome, Mike Double V. And yeah, hopefully you guys got something from that. Glad to be back, and I'll be back with another episode next week. Maybe a Friday finisher video. I'm taking the boys to the safari today at Great Adventure, so maybe I'll make a little video on the way down there with them. All right, guys. Peace.